or anything about that? And then are they contract, permanent? Oh, you can start with Jose, sorry.
Sure. So right now, with the interns, like I mentioned earlier, with the ESA interns, those are not paid positions right now because they're really at our office only limited time. Let's say it's only like 4 weeks, 4 hours a week. So it's really small amount of time, and it's really just a small segment of their school year that they're there. So we're having, solidify that aspect. But I think, a position like that could earn like $14, $15 an hour, depending on how big the project is and how much they actually have time to create to the project. And also looking into the summer, how can we extend, because limited time with students, how can we extend those opportunities for the summertime? Where is it that we could actually maximize, again, benefit the students and at the same time benefit ourselves in a sense that we're providing these opportunities for students. So yeah, that's what I would say.
So our position, when we were fully grant funded with the program, we were able to give the equivalent of $10 an hour for our intern program, and the base level expectation was 200 hours of time. So it was about a $2,000 stipend. But over time, as it's gotten a lot more competitive for funding to fund programs like this, and so in a way, we've taken a step back on the direction of where Jose and his team are, in the sense that we have some unpaid internships, but I'm also keep looking for, so we're partnering right now, we're trying to partner with, actually Nancy and I serve on another group called Keep Up With Beautiful, and we just submitted a grant where we might get some interns that we would share between two organizations, and they would then be grant funded. So I would say about 90% of our interns have all have received stipends. We just started with this new model of unfunded because we don't have a funding stream right now, but we're still actively looking. And so the current 2 interns are unfunded. But we've changed the structure of the internship such that they're gaining a little bit more experience in terms of as I was mentioning before, the internship was mainly focused on waste diversion, recycling, 4 Rs. Now it's focused on education, so they actually get some teaching experience as a result of they get in the classroom, they get to do some teaching. They get to learn the trade a little bit. So the trade-off is, what we're thinking is, and we're trying this model of, first 100 hours is unpaid, but they're sort of training, and then we're observing the interns, and we're seeing how they perform, and if they seem like a good fit, then the next step up might be a stipended position. And we do have some funds that have kind of been sort of reserving for the ones that stand out. And we're trying to set up a more meaningful pathway, because one of the things I've noticed with our interns is sometimes they'll try and jump into an entry-level job at Chabot after they're done, but that's typically been a front desk job. So there hasn't been anything like in the environmental field or in the teaching field per se. So we're trying to structure the internship so that they get some teaching experience. We get to observe them teaching and coach them. And if we find a really interested and able and available person that might fit a need, then they have a natural pathway into this on-call instructor role. And the on-call instructor role is $15 an hour. And it's really an on-demand position that we're really busy right now, for example, starting about April through June. Field trips are just huge, and so we get a lot of folks coming. We don't have enough core instructional team to meet that need. So I've got 3 on-call instructors right now that I'm working with, and I've been training, and they're meeting that extra capacity that we need. We're also trying to grow in a whole bunch of areas, trying to push us to grow strategically in an outreach program, to do some more internal programs that would need more instructional staff. So I'm trying to build sort of this larger team that when we come into the fall, we'll be prepared for this growth. And then here again, so intern, pathway to on-call instructor. And as they're on-call instructor, it's the same thing. We're observing, we're watching for ability, talent, teaching, interest in being at the facility. It's sort of, trying to make the right marriage, trying to match. We're dating now, right? So we're trying to figure out, hey, is this working for both of us? And then I definitely foresee some opportunities because then you move into the full-time instructional or the regular instructional team, which is everything from 3 days a week, so 60% FTE, full-time equivalent, all the way up to full-time teaching. And full-time equivalent, the salaries are $35,000 to $45,000 a year. So there's definitely a pathway from one to the next that we've set up. So I think while the internship may not be as easy to find the stipend money, I think the bigger opportunity is lying down the line, and there's a real opportunity there. And so I'm excited about what we're doing. And unfortunately, I think the way the market is, I know it's tough for you guys looking for positions, but we're seeing a lot of demand even for the unpaid internship, and that's that makes it harder, I know, when you're looking for that core. And I still believe that I would like to pay a stipend if we can, so I'm still, but the directive at our institutions, we've got to cover our staff needs first. And so an intern program, I would argue it's really important and it's really core to what we do, because it gives us these fresh new folks that are looking for new careers, and they have the passion. And I've seen it again and again. They'll take a front desk job, and they have interest, and they're huge resources for our facility, and they bring new ideas. And so, but at the same time, it's harder to sell that when you're trying to meet the bottom line and trying to meet a very tight budget. So at any rate, I think this new sequence of opportunities, we'll see. You know, it's a sort of pilot thing that we've been trying this year. We're going to see how it works.
So in Stop Waste, we have 2 intern programs. The one that I work with is the EEA, and those are the folks that give the tours of the transfer station, and we hire 4 interns usually in August, early to mid-August, and they work for us for 1,000 hours. They have we pay $20 an hour, and it's about 20 hours a week.
25 to 30.
Yeah, it depends on what our needs are. Some weeks it's more, some weeks it's less. If the kids are not in session, we don't have any tours to give, and there's only so much that we can do, so we have to sort of go on vacation. But typically, it's averaged out to about 20 hours a week. And as Eric mentioned, we have the opportunity to observe the interns and sort of get to know their teaching style. And then at the end of the EA year, we then have, as I mentioned, a second intern program, which is the Classroom Sustainability Associates. And they go into the classrooms to help students with their student action projects. And there's a lot more information on that particular program on our website. But those positions pay about $25 an hour because you're building on those skills that you learned at the transfer station or from other places where we get those folks. But also, as Eric and Luis mentioned, that really our internship is an investment. Our internship program is an investment in the future. I continue to be amazed at the things that our interns have gone out and done. Our team members, because they're still team members even though they haven't worked for us for a while, are all over the place. They're in local government, they work for haulers, they run nonprofits, they're doing amazing food scrap collection programs, they're doing consulting work, they're everywhere, which is great. We feel like we can really be a vehicle for positive change, social and environmental change.